Oh, hey folks. It's Jay here. My second video. Um, our first one was more introductory, and we got into airline catering. I want to make a couple of corrections to the first one. Um, I left out one of the airplane types that I catered, which was the Boeing 757-200, and made its debut back then when I was still at Marriott. Our trainer, they always come out with little funny things, how to recognize the plane, how not to confuse types of jetliners. And they called the 757 skinny girl with big tits, and that nickname stuck. The other correction is that we used to do that occasional charter was not British Caledonian, it was British Air Tours, with their shorty Elton 11, Elton 11 500. And I thought I catered them once, but no, I prepared. I was helping the coordinator prepare the the supplies for that charter, and it was mostly liquor. So much liquor going to that plane, and well, we're gonna keep this video to airline catering. Then we'll go back into transit into our next video. But I got a few stories from those days. But there was a there was one day, um, I was an FPH. I was a driver, and a lot of times you're paired with somebody. Sometimes it'll last months. Sometimes it'll last weeks. Um, because helpers would get promoted into drivers, and there was a lot of teams we used to call them. There were driver, FPH, and the helpers. They'll come in and they were expected to become FPHs. You couldn't stay um, a helper for long, over 3 months, or I think they gave you about 6 months to come on over to FEH, because as a helper, there was only limited what you can do. I mean, you earn less money, but they couldn't use you. You weren't versatile. So, we didn't pick our shifts like we pick in transit. I mean, sometimes you would specify what you wanted, whether midnight or afternoon or mornings. And, mornings was mostly for senior people. I always liked afternoons. Midnight shift was an experience. I didn't want to do that again. I did it again in transit, but it wasn't nearly as bad. And maybe I'll make a video on midnight shift, maybe not. But anyways, it was one day, 1983. It was near the end, a little bit near the end when I left, and I had like a midday um, shift, and I was working with somebody who's it was kind of difficult, and I really wasn't enjoying it. It's one thing I didn't like about that job. I always like to work by myself because I don't like to depend on other people. But this person he was a problem, and I was glad that they put him with somebody else. He became an FEH, but it was somebody else. Eventually, he got his ass fired. Uh, but I tolerated it. I dealt with it the best I can. Then they gave me a brand new helper, and this guy, he was pretty good. He was about, well, I was 19 years old. He was probably about 10 years older than me. He uh he was fluent in English, which was a good thing. This is my first language, and he could communicate on the radio. The times where you didn't always get a radio, but if you were working late night, they give you one. Uh, he was all right. I mean, I think it was I got him on a Monday, and he learned pretty fast. But one thing about that job, and one thing everybody did in that job was drink. This is back in 1983, and not only did we drink, we supplied the baggage handlers with the liquor. There were some people that used to supply pilots with cocaine, flight attendants. I never dealt with that stuff. I never did cocaine. I was always afraid of how hyper it made people. But I got someone trying to distract me here. uh, Everybody in that place drank, and when you were new, the first thing they did to make sure you weren't a rat or a Shiva, we used to call it, was that they give you a drink. They said, what's your taste? What do you like? And if you didn't drink it, man, they black label you, and they wouldn't act. They make your life miserable. They thought you were a rat. It took some people just were not drinkers, and I felt bad for them. And it took them a while to get over that image. Um, I didn't mind. First time somebody offered me some rum and coke, I drank it. I always knew my limit to this date, and I never got drunk. I knew it was one, so I can prove to everybody I wasn't a snitch, and maybe I'll take one for the ride home, but not through the day. There were some teams. They started at 4 in the morning, and they would start drinking at 4 in the morning. There were others that worked the afternoon that would start drinking the moment they got there. And a lot of people, though, they would wait till things kind of slow down, 6:30, 7 o'clock, where sometimes you get a break, you start waiting on incoming flights. And we used to stop at this field inside the airport called the P Patch. It's where Terminal A is now. And they would serve themselves a couple of drinks and relax, and sometimes I joined them. But anyway, this guy, I forgot his name, but they used to call people out of nicknames there. They used to call him Monsignor because he had a full head of hair, but he had like a perfect, perfect bald spot right back here. I'm not making fun of people. I'm bald myself, but this guy, that was his nickname, and the guy was a very good helper. He listened, and but people wanted to serve him a drink, and he told them, he says, "Listen, I cannot drink. I'm an alcoholic. I cannot drink." And some of these guys were just pushy, and they were drinking in front of him, and we had just finished an L-1011, which another correction. Well, I think I said that already, but going back to the 757 real quick, they had two galleys. They were like the Airbus A300s, although not as tall, and they took carts, not boxes, so they were fantastic planes to cater. But going back, we had done an L-1011, one of the heavy L-1011. It came in heavy from somewhere. It was going back out heavy to someplace else. Eastern's max load was 28 first class and 265 coach. And that was a full load of carts. And Monsignor and I, we did the plane. And, I was instructing on what to do. It was perfect. We got all the dirty or the used carts out of there, with the remnants of the food and all that stuff. Like I said, it's all sealed. got all the liquor stuff out of there, and went to the P patch where we had a second truck to do a second flight later on. And one of the supervisors, well, all the guys were, there were the 3 or 4 teams that were there. They were all on one truck where they had the booze going. And they had Monsignor on there, and they were really pushing it to him. And he says, "Come on, just have a drink with us. What do you drink?" And he says, "Okay, I drink gin." So they served him a beef eaters or something. And oh my gosh, once that guy took that first drink, it was so sad. That's when I've been around alcoholics before. My godfather loved him very much. He was an alcoholic. I could see how the body reacts to alcohol when you're an alcoholic. Excuse me. And this guy got dead drunk on me. And damn, here comes the supervisor. And I saw him coming, and so I jumped off the truck. And yeah, this guy, the supervisor, I think his name was Eddie, happy-go-lucky guy. Uh, and he said, "Perez," I said, "the last L-1011, he's coming back to the gate. The one you did, he's coming back to the gate. It's going to be a plane change to another L-1011. I said, "Okay, then we need to get to the kitchen and get an empty truck." And he says, "Oh, no, let me see. I think I got an empty one here." They switched us out with another team. And I picked up my Monsignor, headed out to the gate to wait on the plane come back. Came back. Oh, jeez. That was, I think it was the worst day at Marriott. I approached the plane by myself. You never did that. You had to approach the plane with somebody in front of you, guiding you to a certain spot where you stop, and then you raise the bed and you be in perfect position with the galley door. This guy was so drunk he couldn't, so I approached the plane by myself. And good thing it was I'm pretty sure, because I used to drive, when we drove the long trucks, there were enough automatics around where I'll pick an automatic. I mean, I can drive stick shift. That's no big deal, but you don't want to be slipping on the clutch when you're that close to an airliner. So I prefer just to take the safe mode. Well, anyway, I approached the plane and I raised the bed myself. And this guy, he climbed the back of the truck in the bed, and he wasn't even listening to what we were doing. So emptying out the previously catered plane into an empty truck, it's no big deal. Everything is one way. We bring everything in. We lined up the liquor carts. We lined up the food carts, which there were 22, by the way. And then you picked up all the equipment, the coffee and the sodas and all that stuff, and you put it on a stand, rolling cart. It had like 3 levels, and that was pretty easy. I did it all by myself, and then I backed the truck by myself, and they had we were right next door to the baggage loading area, and I'd be honking horn and slowly in case I hit a cart or whatever, because this guy was wasted. We went to got instructions what the new plane was going to be. The plane that was coming in was another L-1011. I knew it well. I think it was inbound 27 from JFK, and this usually was coming packed, but it would be what they called just a strip. The plane would come in, and you strip it out. Then they'll go into maintenance, maintain it, or park it, or get it ready for the next morning, for early morning flights. So when they told me it was 27, they were going to put 27 back out as this new flight. I said, "Oh my God!" I believe that flight was going to Haiti. I forgot the number. But anyway, um, I did that on the whole flight, getting out all the dirty cards, all the mess out the way, putting in the new cards, all by myself. This guy climbed into bed. He kept raiding the old liquor cards, kept drinking more gin. Um, it was taking too long. And, when they do a plane change, they want to get that plane back in the air because it's already late. So they want to get that plane back in the air and back to its destination as soon as they can. And I was all by myself. I was just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I was sweating. I was really delaying the plane. It was really late. That's very hard to do by oneself. And this guy was, at one time, he was on the floor. And one of the flight attendants was helping me. And eventually, one of the pilots or the captain came down to see what was going on. And I just kept working. I didn't even answer him. I just kept working and working and working. I said, I'm going to get fired. This is my last day out here because this plane is so late. It's been over an hour and I just can't get shit done by myself. Flight attendants was help and a hindrance at the same time, because we are, like I said in the previous video, we had our own specific technique because it was limited space on the truck, and the 1011 had a lot of big wide carts, and it was hell. This guy was drunk. He laid on the ramp of the truck. He had fallen asleep. He went back in the plane when he woke up, and I was just about finishing up. That's when the captain was down there, and he raided the old liquor card and took out his bottle of gin. And I think the pilot took pity on me. I was drenched in sweat. My shirt. We used to wear this white shirts with this red things here and black pants, and my shirt was dirty from all the cards and all that stuff. I looked a mess. And finally, everybody, flight coordinators came out to see why the plane was late. The baggage handlers, they had to clear the gate because there was another plane coming in, so it was going to take the gate. They were yelling at us, Marriott, finish up, Marriott. And finally, I finished that. I lowered the bed, backed the truck out all by myself. Left this guy in the back of the truck because he couldn't even get out. And left our other two trucks right in the pea patch. Went back to the kitchen, back to the shop with this guy in the back. And I said, this is it. They're going to fire me, and why bother? I hope Metro comes calling because I know they're going to get rid of me. And got to the shop. Supervisor was waiting on me, of course. Backed the truck to the dock. He asked me, he says, where's Monsignor? He says, as soon as you open the back of the truck, there he is. He says, what do you mean? He says, you figure it out. It's your job. You figure it out. He looked at me. Like I said, I looked a mess. I was stained shirts, and, the whole thing. Sweating like a pig, or sweating like running for the police, like people say. And come to find out, well, I was sent home that day. And this is going to make a decision on me. I didn't even finish my shift. But I called the next day. They told me to come in. I don't know if they're going to fire me or not. The plant manager actually thanked me. He said it was they had to pay a heavy fine to Eastern, liquidated damages because we took so late. He said I should have called for help. I said, we have no radios. I had no way of calling for help. There's no way I could have stopped to use the phone to call the shop and say, send me some help. no way, I had to get that plane out of there. He kind of understood. And I kept my job. I had nothing put on my record. Monsignor, they actually tried to get him some help. It didn't work out. And he got fired. But that was, I think, the worst day I ever had over at Marriott. And I really thought that they were going to can me for that. But I got lucky. So that's all for this video, folks. Next video, we'll go back to transit and cover my first days at transit, the training, a little bit of the training, and a little bit of this, and a little bit of that, and later on, hopefully this works out. We get into more of the serious stuff, experience on the street, midnight shift, driving, supervising, and that's a lot. I got a lot of stories to tell. I got them written down someplace, and I've forgotten a lot of them. But anyways, that's it for this one. Like and subscribe if you want to see more of this. And goodbye, folks. How do I shut this down? Oh, it's a big red button or a little red button. Oh, look behind me. The second one from this side. That was me, employee of the month, way back when. Have a good day.